Good evening, Wrestle Talk Show fans, and welcome to a special Thanksgiving edition of Wrestle Talk Show. We're here tonight to bring you the latest news in professional wrestling, tonight in professional wrestling, as well as a report on the pay-per-view business for professional wrestling. Hello, and welcome to the show, everybody. I'm your host, again, Joshua Zimmerman, and it's an honor to be here again in front of you on this Thanksgiving night. I hope every one of you had a great Thanksgiving and that you're not done yet. Grab some more pie, grab some more whatever you're eating, and sit down and watch some Wrestle Talk Show. That's a good idea. Thank you to our YouTube audience and general audience. We appreciate your day in and day out support. Anything and everything Wrestle Talk Show can be found at WrestleTalkShow.webs.com. There you'll find a very interactive forum, as well as reviews and ratings, stats and statistics on different things happening in wrestling. The latest Jeff Hardy video exclusively posted on the website. Interact with the forum. Send direct show emails to cwecompany@gmail.com. There you'll on the site you'll also find a donate section. Support the show for as little or as much as you want. We have a monthly subscriber option starting at just $3, and we'd be happy to bring you the exclusive content, as well as we love doing the free show, and we just want to make it a more enjoyable experience for our viewers overall. But enough about that, enough plugs for the miscellaneous bull. Let's get right into wrestling. Preview for tonight's Impact, which is about 2 hours away. It's about 7 o'clock now, so you have 2 hours until that excitement in wrestling starts. The Thanksgiving edition of Impact, TNA Impact, features company president Dixie Carter making her return back to TV. Carter has been off TV to push the story that Eric Bischoff stole company control from her. She will return to confront the Immortal Group and is basically being marketed as the Immortal Group's guest of honor. The only wrestling set for the show thus far is Tommy Dreamer versus Rhino in a last street fight. Only match for the Final Resolution pay-per-view they have coming up in December is World Heavyweight Champ Jeff Hardy and Matt Morgan, with more matches expected to be announced tonight. Moving right into their only main event, basically their main event's set up and everything else isn't. And with the recent Jeff Hardy production, if you will, on YouTube, is this a good move? I'm going to blog about this. I'm working on, researching and making sure my facts are correct, but I'm putting together another blog just on this. Is Jeff Hardy hurting TNA? I mean, the company already suffers as it is, but you can clearly see in that video, again, WrestleTalkShow.webs.com, and just go into our video section under the Out of the Ring tab, and you'll see that video, as well as we hope to bring more. That way we can give you full perspective on the wrestling reporting, that we just don't do our own talk show. Especially, this video stuck out because he's facing real felony drug charges. And to have him, now whether or not what he said about CM Punk is true, whether it be true is regardless, when you stack it against, he's facing real felony drug charges. First off, Hulk Hogan announced about a month ago that they're putting realism into their wrestling. The first move was to make Jeff Hardy's real life situation part of the story and associate it with the heel turn. But how much is too much? When you have Jeff Hardy on a video saying how he created CM Punk, and he more or less does the TNA sign and compares the companies in the video as well, and the fact that they're PG, he outright compares the two companies. But this isn't the way to market a heavyweight champion. Your heavyweight champion should not be under the influence, fighting drug charges, and disrespecting another wrestler while under the influence of drugs. YouTube is the biggest network in the world. I could see it if it was a shoot or something where he was sticking up for himself, something productive for his character, or with the recent heat, something productive for him, the person, the man behind Jeff Hardy, the real Jeff Hardy, if you will. But how long, if this doesn't go right for him, he's going to jail. So how long can TNA cash in, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And how long, even if he's still out, how long is cashing in going to be a good image for the TNA as a whole? I mean, there's more than Jeff Hardy to worry about on this roster. When you think about it, they're openly letting him do whatever he wants, which makes me think, like I said in another video, they know more than we do. Because why else would they be letting him parade like this? Eric Bischoff's all about image and what things appear to be. Who's letting him parade around like this and thinking that it's good publicity? But we'll get back to it. Moving on, SuperStars tonight features 2 matches from the Raw brand, 1 from the SmackDown brand. They're pushing the Usos versus Mark Henry, which is a rematch from a couple weeks ago. Plus Trent Beretta versus Kurt Hawkins. So that should be an interesting lineup. Moving on to pay-per-views, WWE announces the first 2 pay-per-views in the 4th quarter, which were Bragging Rights and Hell in a Cell. These 2 pay-per-views averaged 173,000 buys for each. October 3rd, 2010, Hell in a Cell saw buys of 200,000 or better. October 24th, 2010, Bragging Rights saw fewer than 150,000 buys. Hell in a Cell is down 283,000 buys compared to the 2009 version, which only seen, again, 173,000 compared to, I guess, the figure was meant to represent, they saw 283,000 buys in 2009. So there's a big gap there. As of the 4th quarter, the stock was down 7%. We'll be reporting current activity, up-to-date activity as soon as we get it, and we'll be posting detailed graphs for this pay-per-view breakdown. But 2009 into 2010 also saw the $5 domestic pay-per-view increase. It went from $45 to $50. Out of the 173,000 buys reported, 92,000 were domestic buys, and 81,000 buys came from international sources. And it appears to be that the trend is the adults, 18 to 24, 25 to 34-year-old, the demographic that they shoot for, will watch the program for 3 to 4 weeks, skip the pay-per-view, save $45 because they know that it's going to be recapped on that following Raw, and that also attributes to the Raw ratings. Of course, they're going to increase when what would have been pay-per-view buys are now converted into television ratings because your fan knows your pay-per-views aren't worth it, and you're going to spill your story on your televised event in one way, shape, or form. So why spend $45 if they don't have to? Bad for the wrestling industry and the pay-per-view business, but good for the consumer when you think about it, because the fans more or less saying, they don't have the product anymore that keeps me on the edge of my seat. I can watch it for 3 to 4 weeks, skip the pay-per-view, and again, recap everything at the pay-per-view on Raw. Or save yourself some time. If you're already paying for an internet connection, you can recap it most times right after it happens, with the way review shows are. Um, so you gotta wonder what they're gonna do with that. Whether or not this Miz push factors in. Well, it does factor into the youth movement, but can they create stories that, with the youth movement, are going to bring back that demographic stronger, and create stories to where people are going to watch 3 to 4 weeks, but not be given so much that they feel they have to skip the pay-per-view. Basically, force the pay-per-views to become important again, like they were. You watched 3 to 4 weeks of wrestling, and you knew that the major fight, the final stand, was going to come at your pay-per-views, and then your fallout came on Raw, but your pay-per-views were still worth buying because it wasn't something the aftermath was nothing compared to what you saw at the pay-per-view. They just would recap it, but the match was still worth paying the pay-per-view money for. Moving on to it, you got to think that everything's going to come full circle, and they're going to have to find a way to bring back that key demographic. So they're going to have to make the story more interesting. They have no choice. This recent Wade Barrett, John Cena stuff is nice, but it's going to have to come back in 1 second. But it's going to have to come back in one way, shape, or form, but when? And like I said, is the Miz, Wade Barrett, and John Cena storylines going to hold up, especially when you hear reports of Juan Cena being pushed? My thoughts of them doing the send-off right are starting to be doubted, because I don't think turning it into his Mexican cousin is going to mean anything. Everybody can pretty much just start buying the story because they followed it all the way through. But when you do shit like this, are you contradicting the story that you laid out already, that you wanted the fans to buy into, and they have? Thanks for joining us. All this and more at WrestleTalkShow.webs.com. Send show direct emails to cwecompany@gmail.com. Be sure to friend us on Facebook and Twitter at both CWE both are at CWE Company. Until next time, enjoy your TNA Impact tonight and your WWE SuperStars tonight, and we'll be back tomorrow with results and ratings. Again, happy Thanksgiving, and enjoy wrestling tonight.